Being able to afford food will be academic if there is no food to buy. Not content with his plans to wipe out humanity with toxic shots, Bill Gates has unveiled his latest plan to wage war on the food supply as part of an alleged effort to fight climate change. The Microsoft co-founder is specifically setting his sights on meat consumption among the general public. According to Gates and his globalist green agenda allies, beef cattle herds are destroying the planet due to their alleged emissions, though oddly, even Gates admits that some cows emit very little. Gates argues that the only solution to stop the claimed impact of cattle on global warming is to either, quote, modify the cows or eliminate them. In a recent episode of his ironically titled podcast, Unconfuse Me with Bill Gates, where he spoke with Hannah Ritchie, a climate alarmist and deputy editor at the propaganda organization Our World in Data, Gates unveiled his plans for using artificial intelligence to target the food supply.
The power of these AIs, I mispredicted that, and I'm reformed.
Do you think AI will play a role in climate action?
Well, absolutely, because our ability to model complex phenomena, the AIs are helping a lot with that. So, for example, looking at the genetics of cows and saying, hey, some cows emit a lot of methane and some emit very, very little. And some cows survive in hot weather very well and some do not. And then along with our ability to edit genes, one of the most dramatic source of emissions that at one time I wasn't sure the path forward, now we can see either making the cows better or various techniques where they create meat without the cow.
I think if we're going to see this large-scale change in dietary habits, it basically needs to generate, need to generate meat, which would be lab-grown meat, for example, when it's not just a plant-based substitute for that, but it's the actual thing, just without the cow or the chicken.
Yeah, you've got three ways to solve that. Make the cow better. There's some great companies, including one called Prolific, and it looks like we may get there.
Perhaps Bill should read the study released just this past week by 3 physicists, confirming what I've been telling you for the past 2 years. The atmosphere already contains more CO2 than is required to absorb 100% of the heat that this greenhouse gas can. The authors found that adding CO2 to the atmosphere can have no significant climatic effect when rising above the threshold of about 400 parts per million. Due to saturation, higher and higher concentrations do not lead to any further absorption of radiation. According to the most recent data from the Mauna Loa Observatory, the current amount of CO2 in Earth's atmosphere is 427.29 parts per million, and ice cores show that at times in Earth's past, they've been up to 20 times higher than that, and in at least one case, during an ice age. In their study, which showed that CO2 levels above 400 parts per million do not absorb any additional heat whatsoever, the authors concluded that it can be presumed that the carbon dioxide additionally emitted into the atmosphere does not absorb thermal radiation and thus is not a greenhouse gas.